I love you. Well, thank you for coming back to the Couch Potatoes. We're so happy to have you here. Always. It's always a pleasure. We're fighting off tiredness and work angerment. I guess that's angerment. Yes. Angerment. And not an actual, like, very frustrating day at work, just frustrating things that happened at work. I'm trying not to let it get to me. I'm ready to just talk some movies and forget about it.
Yeah.
That said, I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leon. And you know who else tried to forget about it? Hercules Poirot. Hercule Poirot, world-famous detective from the Agatha Christie novels, portrayed here lovely by Kenneth Branagh. This is Green Faces on the Couch, by the way, a podcast about movies and TV. And so we're not talking about Agatha Christie. We're actually talking about two interpretations of her film. This is a sequel smash.
Of her novels.
Of two of the movies based off of two of her novels. Specifically starring Kenneth Branagh.
Kenneth Branagh!
As Hercule
Branagh. Yes.
Thank you, Branagh.
And I do love Kenneth. But before we talk about these films, I do have a little bit of green ketchup to squirt all over our lovely couch potatoes.
Oh.
Yes. Oh. So what's a potato without some good ketchup all over it?
Yeah.
And I'm here to... It's a nice little circular thing because a couple months ago, Death on the Nile was a green ketchup.
That's
and now we're talking it. And it makes me very happy. Not the movie itself doesn't make me very happy. It just makes me happy that we're talking green ketchup. Yeah. But I have two more. I was able to go to the theater and catch a video on demand release of another film, and I'd like to talk those two. The first one, the one I went to the theaters to see, was Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I'm so excited to see that. Eventually.
Yeah, it's a multiversal sci-fi film, but not like a big, not a Marvel multiverse or a DC Comics multiverse. It's not like a big franchise. It's in and of itself.
It's a little tiny multiverse.
Yeah, it's a bubble universe in its own little cinema, and it's by two of my favorite directors, and I say favorite very tentatively. They've only made two films that I know of, but they made a buttload of music videos that I absolutely love, and they're colloquially, I don't even know if that's the right word, but they're called the Daniels. It's Dan Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, and two lovely people who they've done. Off the top of my head, I can remember they did the music video for "Turn Down for What." Yeah, and Simple Song by the Shins. Those are the two music videos that I know specifically that they did, because I love those music videos. They're absolutely great. If you haven't seen them, go check those music videos out. They're 100%. Hilarious.
So there also is, because of the popularity, I think, partially due to the music video, there is reinterpretations of this song. One with Hank Hill in particular. Turn Down for What? I fucking love it.
Turn down for what?
Yeah. I really wish someone would do a goofy version. I think that would work. I think it's a bit past its time, though. It's probably past.
It'd be funny. They didn't have anything to do with the music itself. They didn't make that song. Right. They just did the music video for it. But yeah, you're definitely right. It definitely spurned a lot of interest, I would say, because of the comedy. The comedy's great.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Turned Down for What definitely, or was the definitive project that got them the money to do a movie, but somehow they eventually made a film, I believe with A24 way back in the day, called The Swiss Army Man, or just Swiss Army Man, with Daniel Radcliffe. Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe, Paul Dano. Daniel plays a dead body, and Paul Dano just kind of weekend at Bernie's him throughout the course of the movie, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's so good. It's a great film, and it's very black comedy. It's just
I mean, it's a dead
it's
body.
A kind of comedy. So. Yeah, exactly. and that's Everything Everywhere All at Once. They did this sci-fi film. That's yet another just like hilariously absurd black comedy, and like I don't want to say too much about it. I'll just say that it's about a It's about a woman played by Michelle Yeoh, who is a owner of a laundromat, like a cleaning business. Well, actually, I don't think she cleans. She just has the washers and dryers, so just a laundromat. Oh. And it's around tax season, topical, as we just ended that here in the United States, that great season that we all love.
Uh-huh.
And it's specifically about her and her husband. You know, she's kind of feeling run down with life, very mundane. And she's contacted, I will say, by a multiverse, because she's the only one who can stop a great evil that is threatening to destroy everything, everywhere, all at once.
All at once. Okay.
Absolutely wild. If you watch either Swiss Army Man or those music videos and you like the humor there, you will love this movie. It is so fun. So that's all I'll say about it. It's in theaters right now. Hopefully it'll be streaming soon so everybody can watch it.
And also, secret review of Swiss Army Man. You gave exactly. a little bit of both.
A little bit of everything. I love the Daniels. I'll always shout out their stuff because they're just great. Unless they do something weird that, cancels them, in which case I'll retract everything that I just said.
Yeah, then fuck them.
Exactly. The other movie that I saw that I wanted to talk about, it's on video on demand right now. It was in theaters. I missed my chance to get it to watch it in theaters. I talked myself out. Really wish I hadn't. It's a lot of fun. That movie is X. Just the letter X. It's another slasher film in the heart of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's very, very similar to that. I'm not a fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think it's good, but it's not a film that I watch a lot. I'm not wildly intrigued by it. The only thing that gets me is that final act. That final act is great.
I've never seen it.
But yeah, the build up, we'll definitely have to do it for Halloween someday.
It's coming around.
It's coming around. It's always there. But X is also by Ty West. Ty West is a young director. I've only seen one of his films, I think, but he was in You're Next, the movie You're Next.
I know I've seen that movie.
That's the movie with you remember they open the door and the woman runs right into the the very thin wire that's across it and just decapitates her. And we were both holy shit!
Yeah, okay, I remember that, but I don't remember anything else from the film.
The final lady at the end sets up a huge trap throughout the house to get the killer.
I remember. Okay, yeah. It was in a big house. Great. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Secret review,
very fun. And he's not the director. He's just acts in that one. He plays a big role. But the film that that at least I saw that he had directed that I'd seen was The House of the Devil, which is a very slow burn. If I remember correctly, it was kind of like a devil worship, one of those religious films.
Third secret review. Man, you're just killing it.
I'm just throwing them all in there, man. But no, The House of the Devil was a lot of fun. But it was I think it was about a babysitter or something. She goes to a house and discovers a crazy cult worship things going on. And my dog has started playing with her squeaker toy. So you couch potatoes get to hear that lovely sound in the background. Enjoy that. But X is a little hard to recommend, I will say. As much as I love it, as much as it's a very fun horror film, very good slasher, but it is about a group of individuals, six individuals in particular, 3 couples, if you will, who rent a house on a farm of this elderly couple. The elderly couple says, yes, you can use our spare house, our guest house, or whatever you want to call it on our farm. Sure. The elderly couple does not know what the 3 couples intend to use that house for, which is to make a porno. And this is definitely set in the 70s, I think. I love that. I keep doing that. I've noticed that I do that a lot where I say, this is definitely blah, 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 I think.
In this time period, I think. Yeah, it was 1979. And it's very much in the heart of those films from the late 70s, early 80s. It has all of the feels of a 70s horror film. And also all of the feels of a 70s porn film, yeah. And that I will say that there are some explicit scenes. It's very much a soft core porn. You don't see penetration, but you do see a lot of naked bodies and in the act of intercourse. Yeah. And then when the killing happens, when the slasher stuff starts happening,
it's fucking riveting and it's great. And there was definitely one kill where I had to pause the movie and look up how they did it, because I was just like, holy shit, that was really cool. Like it was definitely prosthetic. It was in the moment, or it was in the camera. I mean, not in the moment. Like they didn't cut away from something that you're just like, oh, okay, that's where the cutting of the body, if you will, was to happen. No, you see everything. Oh. And it's really well done. You see these expressions on the character as it's happening, and I was just like, "How did they do this? It was so good." Wow. So I had to look it up, and I will say I won't spoil it because I don't want to spoil the kill, but I will say that the technical details behind all of it, so well done. It's a really fun movie. I want to give a shout out to 2 of the actors. All the actors are great, but I don't want to take up way too much time talking about all of them. Sure, so I will simply shout out. Yeah, I'll simply shout out Mia Goth, who plays the main character, an aspiring porn star, very young. She plays Maxine, who is, she's... I'll just say she's the final lady. She also plays Pearl, the elderly woman who owns the farm. So she plays young Maxine and Pearl.
All right. See, I saw the trailer and I knew that was makeup, but I still thought it was an elderly person. That's pretty good.
Right. Yeah, so I want to give her a shout out. She did a great job. And the other one I wanted to give a shout out, mainly because I did not realize he was into acting, is Scott Mescudi, otherwise known as Kid Cudi. I love Kid Cudi, the artist, the music artist. He's so fucking great. Didn't realize he's been doing acting. We've actually seen him in Don't Look Up. He was played a DJ in that movie.
Oh.
So, yeah, just completely blown away. But he is in most of these sex scenes in this movie, and I was really pleased. Great job. Great job, Kid Cudi. But no, I definitely recommend this film. If you love Texas Chainsaw Massacre or just any slashers, if slashers are your cup of tea for horror, check out X. It's really fucking fun.
And maybe we'll talk about it come Halloween. Because I gotta say that I am pretty interested in that movie too. I was interested in both of those movies before you said, oh, I'm going to go see them. I was like, okay, go have a good time.
You're always welcome to come
I know
theater.
I'm welcome to come with you. It's just,
I know.
You know.
Yeah, I know.
And the world knows it too, even if they are ignoring it. That's all I'm going to say, I guess.
And I have chosen to ignore it solely for the theaters.
I'm feel ready to get back to other things that I feel willing to do, and we have done a restaurant for convenience or 2.
Right.
So I think we might be turning around on that come soon, but it is kind of doing its thing right now. I don't know what I'm talking about. I know, yeah. COVID is spiking in some places right now, so. Well, anyways.
Yeah. The damn thing keeps rearing its ugly head.
Yeah. Just keeps on coming around. And I mean, I don't know what to do about it anymore. I mean, nobody else is going to care, and at some point, it's just our efforts aren't going to mean anything.
Right. It's kind of like how I feel about climate change in the environment. I can recycle all I want, and I can tell people to recycle all I want, but don't mean they're gonna.
No, it doesn't. It's sad. And maybe there's another universe out there in the multiverse, our multiverse, where Al Gore. I couldn't even say
where the Electoral College wasn't a thing, and we didn't have to deal with that kind of shit.
Okay, enough on that end. Let's talk about murder.
Murder!
Yes. If you haven't got enough of us talking about murder yet, we're going to talk about murder on the Orient Express. So
there's only one murder here, so that's nice.
That is nice. There's only one murder in this movie, I think. Yes. I'm pretty sure. So, Hercule Poirot, he has one thing in common with you, Greg. He is so tired of his job. Just so tired. And he needs a respite. And his buddy, Bach, played by Tom Bateman, runs a train for his father. And basically he just does party boy things on the train. And the train is called the Orient Express.
Yeah.
Who would have guessed? And
who would have guessed? And there's so many famous people that ride this damn train.
Yes, so many famous people all at the same time. It's almost suspicious.
Do you want to run through them real fast?
Sure, I will try. We have... I don't know what... I was just going to go through the characters, I guess.
Yeah.
We have Daisy Ridley, who I didn't quite recognize when I watched the movie, but she did great as Miss Mary Debenham. We have Leslie Odom Jr. for Dr. R. Utnut. And I don't remember...
I love that name.
Such a 13-year-old, man. I fucking love you.
R. Utnut. I love it.
I feel like I recognize him from somewhere, but I am not sure.
I believe he was in Hamilton.
Oh, okay. I don't remember.
I believe he was. I believe he was Aaron Burr. Aaron Burr. Sorry.
I don't recall.
He was the one who shot Hamilton.
Oh, yes. The whole story. Yes. Okay. I don't know why Aaron Burr, like, just that name seems hard to remember. I don't know. He's up against Washington and Hamilton and Franklin.
Right. And then there's Burr.
So
that's how they thought about him too at the time.
Gerald Horan, Ainsworth, I believe that is the valet character. He's on the train. Then you have Beniamino Marquez, played by Manuel Garcia Rulfo. And I'm mentioning all of them because they're all suspects in this murder.
It's true. You're right. You're right. I was just like, I don't see these people on the Wikipedia cast list, so I was just like, man, where are you at?
Penelope Cruz plays Pilar Estravados. Josh Gad as Hector Queen. Johnny Depp, Edward Ratchet.
Yeah, I will jump in to say that Johnny Depp is the body.
Yeah, so you don't have to watch that much of him.
Yeah. They got the biggest name to be out of it within 20 minutes. He's probably not the biggest name. I don't know, like Penelope Cruz and Willem Dafoe are also pretty high up there. But they got rid of him really fast. And Josh Gad plays his secretary? Is that what you would call him?
Yes. Yeah. That he called himself that, but he was also like his accountant and everything.
Right.
You know, I'm looking at this, and Derek Jacobi might have played Ratchet's valet instead of the other guy I mentioned. Edward Henry Masterson being the character's name. Let's see. Count Rudolph Andrini, played by Sergei Puloni. Let's see if that's actually a character we need to care about. Otherwise, you can cut it out. Yes, that's right. The husband and wife characters. They're like hardly in this movie, but they're.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm trying to remember who they were.
Countess. Yeah, the Countess. She's addicted to not laudanum, Benethol or something.
Okay, I think I'm vaguely remembering, and she's played by Lucy Boynton.
That's right, and her name is Countess Elena. And you got Pierre Mitchell. I don't know if that's an important person. There's too many people on this goddamn train. He was one of the waiters or coachmen, whatever you call them, on a train. You got Caroline Hubbard, played by Michelle Pfeiffer. That's one of the big famous names.
That's true. Sure. Yeah, and I want to jump in just in case I do keep the Pierre Michael in there. It's played by Marwan Kenzari.
Thank you. I did not mean to pass that up.
Who I think was in Aladdin.
The new Aladdin?
Yes, he was in Aladdin. Who did he play in Aladdin?
Was he Jafar?
Oh, he might have been Jafar.
He was Jafar.
He was Jafar. Yeah.
He was
okay,
Jafar.
I was going to say, all I could remember was that I remembered him in Aladdin. I just could not remember who he was. But yeah, he was the soft-spoken Jafar that we complained about when we saw the trailer.
We still got at least 3 more really famous persons. We
yes,
got
indeed.
Judi Dench playing Princess Dragomirov. Drag me off. And then Hildegard Schmidt, played by Olivia Colman. And also...
Yes. Oh my god, man.
Gerhard Hardman is probably better how it's pronounced. Played by the illustrious... I just don't know how this man does it. Willem Dafoe.
Right. Oh my god, he's so good. And I want to say about Olivia Colman too was I did not realize until the second watching of this that Olivia Colman was in this. I don't think I recognized her in the first time.
Well, probably because I've watched so many things with her more recently. I definitely did.
It's like when
I
did
had
this
never
movie
seen
come
this
out?
before. This came out in 2017, which is
okay.
Still before she was in The Crown, I think.
Yeah, I think with her, my first note, like finding out about her was in Broadchurch, and I don't think I watched Broadchurch when it came out. So like it I don't know. I think when I first watched this, I didn't know who she was, and now like watching it back, I was just like, oh my god, Oscar award-winning Olivia Colman. Hello, what are you doing?
What are you doing here? Yeah, everybody's on this trip.
Yeah. This cast is so freaking huge. Like only like is. Kenneth Branagh and Wes Anderson, and there's two very wildly different directors, but like only them. Like if like, hey, Kenneth Branagh's making a movie, you want to be in this? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. And also he's starring in it. Like, yeah, man. I mean,
which honestly,
so my only
maybe a bit of an ego trip, honestly.
I really like Hercule. His version of
I do
Hercule.
too. Yeah. I just think it's kind of funny that he directs a movie that he stars in and gives himself the most screen time.
Yeah.
When there's literally how many people did we just name off? Like 15 suspects?
Right. And like what was 6 of them are like household names at least?
Yeah. Maybe, it's crazy. Like
maybe 7.
It's so funny to me. But like that's not to attack the job that Kenneth Branagh does as Hercule, because
amazing. I thought, yeah,
he's very fun and like
fucking double mustache.
It's ridiculous, man. I love it. Yeah, it's so stupid.
It is amazing. So, like we said, So let's just talk about what the mystery is about this movie, just so people get an idea of what's going on. So like we said, Johnny Depp's character, Ratchet, gets killed. And previously, he came to Hercule. Mr. Ratchet came to Hercule.
Mr. Ratchet.
And said, look, they're trying to kill me, okay? Okay. And
I need you to protect me.
Protect me. And he said, no, I don't like your face.
Oh, so mean.
And then he got killed. And a lot of very suspicious things happened right around there because his room was right next door to Hercule's. So, yada, 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 there's a lot of different elements to why it's suspicious. But no one has left the train. But the train does get stuck. So now Bach comes to Hercule and says, hey, listen, I got to figure out who the killer is. Because this is actually part of my job that hardly exists. So can you please help me?
Well, plus, like, he has to get it solved because they're derailed. They have 2 days of doing nothing, and they're stuck with a killer.
Right.
Because they're almost dead certain that, there is the possibility that somebody wildly snuck on board the train, killed the man, and snuck off. That is an option.
It's possible.
Very, impossible possibility in Hercule's mind. Especially once he digs into it and finds out that Johnny Depp's character, Ratchet, is a very easily hateable person.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of enemies.
And any one of these people could be connected to his awful lifestyle.
Maybe all of them. It's no, it's a great mystery. I really do enjoy this one.
I do enjoy it.
And I'm curious, how many times has this movie been made? This is the fourth screen adaptation of Christie's novel.
Well, we should watch all the other three and do a little tiny playlist. Or
it looks like there was
big, long, old versus new.
So there was a 1974 film, a 2001 TV film, and a 2010 episode of the television series Agatha Christie's Poirot.
Oh yeah, I do want to watch that.
It'd be interesting.
But we don't have to watch that for this. I think that's more of a faceless pitch that might happen.
I mean, that's totally fine. I mean, I'll definitely probably... there it is again. Definitely probably. What the fuck?
I think.
I will definitely check out Agatha Christie's Poirot sometime in my life, because if I haven't talked about her before, she is like my favorite mystery author. Sure. Which is, it's not a stretch. She's most people's favorites because she's a damn good mystery author.
And she had a bazillion books.
Yeah. But she was like my introduction to mystery. It was like when I was like probably 6 or 7, I picked up, I think it was called is either the ABC Murders or Evil Under the Sun.
I don't know either of them.
I think it was Evil Under the Sun, but it was like, I just like was indebted, or not indebted. I was just like, inherited a bunch of Agatha Christie books somehow. Huh. And so I was just like, oh, cool. And that was the first one I picked up. I read it and was just like wildly blown away by the mystery. And they're all like, all of her books are so short. They're all like 150 to like 300 pages long. They're just quick little mysteries. And the detectives are all, it's kind of like Sherlock Holmes. You're always like blown away by how they connect things, how they put it all together, how they see the world. And one of those detectives, and the best one in my opinion, was Hercule Poirot. He's so fun to follow. He's where's he from? Is he Belgian?
Yes, he's Belgian.
Okay.
And he fought in the Great War, which that's a part of the next story a little bit.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah. And honestly, if you're ready, I'm ready to get on to the next one.
Yeah, so let's do some closing statement.
Yeah. This first one of the Branagh's Poirot series, if he continues to make more, which I'm totally down for. I do enjoy his Poirot. I enjoy this first one a lot. I think it is a very enjoyable mystery thriller kind of thing. The cast is all fun, but honestly, the second time I watched this, being for this show, because I watched it in theaters when it came out, and now this is my first rewatching of it, I didn't really pay much attention. I was kind of just like...
that's too bad.
I knew the mystery. I've read the book before, and like, the first time seeing it in the theaters, I was like, oh, this is so much fun. But once the mystery's kind of gone from it, once you've seen everything, it's kind of just like noise in the background that I'm still interested in, but not fully paying attention to. Mm-hmm. So this second time around, I don't remember what I first gave it in theaters, probably like a 3 or 3.5. But this second time around, I'm only giving it a 2.5 because it's still very fun, but it's kind of forgettable.
Not that much rewatchability, anyways.
Yeah.
So I give it a full face. I really enjoyed watching it. We had quite a bit of fun with it. Definitely made some cracks at it, but I'm going to say we made some more cracks about the next one for sure. And we'll get into that. So I think that's really what I have to say about it real quick. If you like this show, please come on down to patreon.com/screenandfaceless. Check out the tiers we got there. You could vote on the potato pick. Please, can I have some more?
Please,
can I have some more patrons, please?
Please, patrons, give us money.
We just want people to suggest movies and vote on them, please.
Yeah, that's really it. We're not even like to help us out financially to submit to the tiers. That would be super awesome. But like, you don't need to do that to vote, right?
No, well, it's $2 a month to vote, which is quarter an episode.
It's totally it's
but if you bump that up to $5 a month, which is a coffee a month, then you get to make a suggestion for the monthly episode to a pick.
It'd be so much fun. We want more. Yeah. We want more diversity and choices for our Patreon picks. We enjoy the ones we're getting. We just want to have a big selection for like a lot of votes. We want it to be fun.
That's right. We want to be biting our nails, waiting for the votes to come in.
Yeah.
Give it to us, please. All right. Let's go for a soda pop break.
I stopped drinking soda pop.
Yeah, did you?
I sobered up.
Yeah, I sobered up. I stopped that caffeine. I got off the nean.
Welcome back, I believe. Yes?
Believe?
You ready? You ready? Me ready. We go into... We've talked murder, and now it's just time for death. Now it's just death.
Now it's just death. You've already been murdered.
Now it's death.
Now you're on to death. The many stages of death.
And where best to do death but on the Nile? Death on the Nile. Which is another very famous Hercule Poirot novel, again by Agatha Christie. I don't think I've actually read this one. It's still on my shelf, but I knew the story going in. And like as I said during the Green Ketchup, I noticed some technical issues with this film, but it's still an enjoyable-ish mystery. Let's get into it. So I will go ahead and unleash the crazy cast upon all of you. So first and foremost, you have Hercule returning. You have a brief backstory with him in the army, where you see how he like a bomb went off or something like that and like mutilated his face.
That's right.
He had a big scar across his face, and his fiancée, the love of his life, who I don't remember her name, Katrine.
Susan Fielding.
Thank you, Susanna Fielding. Yes, she tells him to grow a mustache. You know, she doesn't recoil from his scar or anything, I don't believe, but she tells him just grow a mustache, cover your scar with a mustache. Yeah. Which is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Yeah. I'm sorry, but like scar tissue doesn't grow hair that well. I mean, it can. I won't say that it's impossible, but the magnificent mustache that he has must be fake. Must be fake.
Part of it might be prosthetic. I feel like it could be.
Kenneth Branagh didn't grow the mustache. He must have faked it.
He faked it. I will say it is not as big in this movie as it is in the last. And
it's kind of it's funny to me because when I watched it in theaters, I thought it had gotten bigger.
That's really funny.
Yeah, and you told me it's like, no, it's much shorter. And I looked it up and I was like, wow, it is. It is much shorter. Having watched it back to back, it's very obvious. But like in a 4-year difference or however many years.
Bushier this way, but excuse me, you can't see what I'm doing to my face. It might be bushier like on top of the lip, but going across the cheeks, it wasn't as wide. It still like had that double stash style, but that first mustache would have covered up where his face was all messed up, but not in the second one.
No, it wouldn't have. His scar was crazy big for the mustache. Yeah. And I think what happened was I think they took that mustache, because obviously it's fake. I think they took it and they put it in a box, and they're like, someday we'll do another Hercule Poirot movie. And then like time it came and he was just like, I'm doing it. And he pulls the box out and he opened it up and it had shrunk. The stale air had just shrunk it just a slight bit, and he was just like, maybe they won't notice.
I thought you were going to say it flew away for some reason. I was waiting for that.
But in this one, Hercule, again, Kenneth Branagh, I don't remember where he's at, but he witnesses 3 of the main characters of what is going to become the plot. He notices, let me get their names here real quick. I remember Gal Gadot and Armie Hammer. Who was the Jackie? Was that her name? Yes, it was Jackie, played by Emma Mackey. He sees Jackie,
Jacqueline de Bellefort.
Yes, he sees Jackie and Armie Hammer's character Simon Doyle, who are 2 lovers, and he's just like, "Oh, young love, how nice." And along comes Jackie's childhood friend, played by Gal Gadot, named Lynette Ridgway. And this is the first time Lynette meets Simon. And they kind of chat, a little awkward, yada, yada, yada. End of the night, 6 weeks later, Hercule Poirot is in Egypt. He's maybe on vacation again. I don't remember. He's sitting in front of the pyramids having some tea.
On quotes, Hercule Poirot never gets to have a vacation.
He never does. Nope. And he sees while he is relaxing, he sees a kite being flown on the pyramids. Quite annoying to him. He's trying to relax. I think he's even painting. Maybe.
No, he is just looking. But he's sitting at. They talk about with eggs. They talk about his OCD a little bit in the first movie.
Yes,
and then in this one, I think they might show 2 perfect eggs at one point, but he sits directly center in like this ancient alleyway in this ruined city to look dead on the pyramid. Just a perfect view. And he's just sitting there, and as soon as he starts seeing this green kite. He's like, what? What? And he's so upset about it.
And it's his good friend Book, yet again. Or Book. Tom Bateman, still. When I watched this in the theaters the first time, I didn't remember him from the first movie.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought it was just another one of his friends. I was just like, oh, cool, another of Hercule's friends getting him involved in a mystery. The fact that it's the exact same friend seems a little weird that his friend gets him involved in 2 huge mysteries like this.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it is explained.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I don't think, I'm just assuming here. I don't think Tom Bateman's coming back for a third one.
I don't think so.
He might be done with with the Poirot franchise, know.
I heard that falling out. Yeah.
But the Book invites Hercule to the wedding of is it a hotel that Book owns? Or is he just part of the wedding?
His mother or he was invited along, but it is really like a reception / holiday. It's like
Right.
It's like it's like they brought these people along on their honeymoon.
Because they have been married. They did get married.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like
this is a long party celebration over several days.
And Hercule accepts. He comes to the party and is shocked, I tell you, to find that it's not Armie Hammer and Rose Leslie, it's not Armie Hammer and Emma Mackey, Jackie and Simon Doyle who got married. It's Armie Hammer and Gal Gadot. Jackie's childhood friend stole her husband from her, her fiancé, I should say.
And it must have just happened because he just saw them.
Yeah, it was just 6 weeks ago that Gal Gadot and Armie Hammer met. And again, I will point out, if you haven't yet looked up the crazy, wild nature of Armie Hammer, the allegations, the alleged conduct of this man, I will say look it up. Having just read the article before watching this movie in theaters, made this movie a little awkward for me.
You know what? I wanted this to come about more naturally, but maybe you could just tell me if it's funny. Do you think Hammerable the Cannibal is funny?
Hammerable
the Cannibal.
Well, I mean, before all the weird allegations, I would have said that Armie Hammer was indeed hammerable.
Yes.
But can't say there's much of an attraction now.
Maybe a little fear.
Yeah. Maybe a little fear. Yeah. Alleged. All of them are alleged. We're not going to insinuate anything. It was just an article we read that we thought was funny.
Yes.
And whether it is true or not, we will not speculate upon.
I will say, I'm sorry that somebody's putting you through it, Armie.
Yeah.
But I think, given that it's more than one person, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But it's kind of weird because I had read that they had tried to tone down his involvement in this movie because everything had been shot, and then all of this stuff started coming out. And apparently the company was just like, all right, try to edit out like as much as you can or whatever of his character. He's one of the main characters. He's like the crux of the whole story, because what happens is
he's got a bigger role than Balk.
Yeah, and while they're on this this trip, what ends up happening is Jackie shows up on the same tour. They go to a cruise ship basically, and I'll read the cast off here soon. But this whole cast comes to this cruise ship, and Jackie's kind of stalking them. There's a lot of tension between Gal Gadot, Armie Hammer, and Emma Mackey, and I will just la-di-da-di-da. Eventually, Gal Gadot gets killed, and that's when you have the mystery going on. And
the murder is a lot later in this.
It took a long time for there to be a death on the Nile. And I watched this with Professor Ronvald the Scald, our lovely friend. And both of us, like maybe an hour or so into the movie, we're kind of like looking at each other like, is there going to be a death on the Nile? Because it's taken a long time to get there. Like,
it's a long river, so
could
have been.
But being such an important aspect of the plot, being one of the key suspects in Gal Gadot's murder, as well as her just recently married, a newlywed husband.
Right.
It's very hard to edit him out of this plot, so I'm not sure what they were talking about when they were trying to like course correct, given the allegations that were coming out about Hammer.
I mean, it is kind of a shorter movie. Maybe there's another half a Hammer in there.
Maybe. I'm happy it was removed, because I was already kind of feeling groggy by the end of this movie.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So let's let me dive really fast through the cast here.
Yeah.
It's not as big of a A-listing studded cast as the last one. It still has a lot of big names though. We have Annette Bening as Euphemia, who is Book's mother. You have Russell Brand as Linus Windlesham, a former fiance of Gal Gadot, of Lenny, as she's called. Ali Fazell, sorry if I mispronounced your name, as Andrew Kashadurian, Lenny's cousin. Dawn French as Mrs. Bowers. Who is she? I don't even remember her, honestly.
Was she...
Mrs. Bowers.
Let's see. I'm just going to look up her face.
Marie Van Schuyler's nurse. Which one was Marie Van Schuyler? She was also there. I'll go ahead and read her off.
Was she the godmother character?
Jennifer Saunders, the godmother. You are right. Lenny's godmother. So there's those two. You have Rose Leslie as Louise Bourget. Lenny's maid. We've already talked to Emma Mackey, of course. You have Sophie Okonedo as Salome Otterburn.
A lot of people would know Rose Leslie as Ingrid from Game of Thrones. Just to throw that
That's fair. I don't think I ever got to Ingrid.
She was great as her.
I've gotten to her in the books. I have not gotten to her in the show. Sophie Okonedo as Salome Otterborn, a renowned jazz singer, and Rosalie's aunt. Rosalie, by the way, played by Letitia Wright. Rosalie, or Rosie Otterburn. She was a classmate or something of Lenny's, and Book's love interest. That was fun.
Oh,
Book
yes.
Love interest.
Yes.
And Book's mom, Annette Bening, as Euphemia, she did not like Book being with Rosie. That was not a relationship that she accepted.
She found it inappropriate. It wasn't because of the color thing. At least that's what she said. It was because Book is in an aristocratic family, and she thinks that he should marry into an aristocratic family, or at least somebody with money. And so she does not approve. But they're gonna get together anyway. Book never cared about money,
right?
And she is a very successful, ambitious woman, and all he wants to do is support her. So it's honestly a great relationship. I love them.
It was nice. It was one of the nicer parts of this film. and sadder parts.
Yeah.
And I think that is the main cast there. So that is all the suspects, all the individuals involved on this ship. Because what eventually happens, they're on this ship for a while, and Poirot's trying to solve this crazy murder that seems very obvious, and yet also at the same time not obvious. It's very you kind of feel like you know who did it, but if they did it, it kind of doesn't make sense. There has to be more to it.
When the events happen, it's like, oh,
yeah,
okay, strange, but it's one of those things. Like, Poirot talks about how he likes the big scene at the end because somebody else had pointed it out. The big scene where he reveals everything about the mystery. And, he does it in the other movie, too. And he's like, yeah, I do like to do this. But that's because I feel justified in it or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And
it's a good staple, and I fucking love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that scene where he does bring everything out, I do feel like the plan that was enacted was a smart plan. They just didn't expect Hercule Poirot to be there.
Right? They didn't know. And they shouldn't have pissed him off either, man.
Yeah, right? Jeez. Yeah, I was very sad for Hercule at the end of the movie. Also, I was sad that Gal Gadot died, even though we were waiting for someone to die.
I know, yeah. Because again, I hadn't read this one. This is one that I was kind of clueless about. Right. But I will say, going into the ending, before the big speech, before the big scene, watching this in theaters, once the murder happened, I was like, okay, it's either A or B. These are the two solutions. And I'm saying that it can't be A because that was the ending of the first movie.
Yeah.
Therefore, it must be B, and I was 100% right. It was my B option. I won't spoil the mystery of it all, of course. But it's kind of very obvious what happened. It's not well hidden, not well hidden in regards to cinema, and also in regards to the mystery itself. They kind of make errors, and it's very spottable.
Really, it's not that it's very solvable though, because to solve it you have to have proof. That was what the hard part of this particular mystery was. Even if Hercule knew who did it right away, he still had to figure out. I
had said it was spottable. It's very spottable in regards to the cinema of it because because Branagh's trying to give you all of the information. He's not trying to hide things from you.
Right.
But in doing that and giving you all of the information, you can spot where he's trying to trick you in the moment. He's trying to make you look one way, but clearly you're still looking at, I'll say, I don't know how to talk about it without spoiling it. There's a moment where something happens to the murderer, I will say, and the camera tries to cover it slightly while still showing it to you, so that you can get all of the information for yourself and feel confirmed in it. But at the same time, there will be a mystery to it, and I feel like it was a little. Maybe it's just because I watch a shit ton of movies and I was looking for it, but it just felt too obvious what the mystery was, what the answer was.
Maybe. I don't know. I was just really trying to play devil's advocate for the film. I don't think this film is as nearly as strong as the other one. I still enjoy watching it. I feel like I'm kind of going in closing statements, but I do want to talk about one particular scene that when it was going on, I was like, this scene is so strange and I can't believe it's going on. But then everyone involved almost died. And that's the scene at the statues of Ramesses and his wife and whoever else. Gal Gadot and Armie Hammer basically make a Lorno on top of this monument. And it is almost graphic. And they are a married couple. I just felt like, wow, this is just completely out of left field, it feels like. I mean, I know they're on their honeymoon and everything, but Gosh, and
yeah,
then
especially given how formal and proper everybody has kind of been up to this point.
Right.
Like, I mean, you know, they've let their image down slightly every now and then, but like everybody's still trying to act like the nobles, you know, the pompous class.
It's like they're not being coy about it, and also there's people like right below them, like because so this rock, I'll say, part of the monument breaks off and nearly crushes both of them. And then it bounces off and nearly crushes Hercule and somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's how I know there's people right below them. Like, I don't know how tall that building is. I would say, working in a theater, I could guess that being on the shoulders might be 3 stories high. There's no walls.
I have no idea.
You could still hear people from that far away. And they were not being coy. No, they were not.
When they were having coitus, they would have been quiet.
When they were having
she would have been screaming.
But when they started, when they were doing the foreplay part of it, which was what the scene is, they were not being very coy. So there's that. That could be a plus or minus for the film, depending which way you lean, I suppose.
I will say for Gal Gadot, it was like, oh, this is a fun scene. And then then you look and see Armie Hammer, and it's like, oh, I've heard some things about you. Gal Gadot, get out of there.
I did lean over to Sarah and say, Gal, watch out.
Look out, Gal! Oh, it was a weird scene, though. I remember watching it, and
it was very strange.
Me and Professor Ronvold were just kind of like, this is not what we were expecting in this kind of a film. Yeah. Okay. And then the attempted murder happens, and it's just like, oh, okay, this is where we were going with it. Gotcha.
Yes. It's a tease before a tease.
If they just hadn't gotten so graphic visually, if they had just been necking, I think it would have been fine. Yeah. If it would have just, like, it wouldn't have been weird, I guess. You know, it wouldn't have stuck out.
I mean, okay, so neither of us are going to sit here and deny that Gal Gadot is sexy. We're not going to say that.
Right.
Because
it's impossible to say that.
I will say that she is. At least I find her very attractive. And while that kind of thought might occur in my head that I'd like to see a scene like that, when it actually happens, it's like, you're Wonder Woman.
It's like, it's like, did we just step back into the Fast and Furious franchise? What just happened here?
But like, okay, so there was girls in hot shorts and definitely some interesting scenes with Gal, but none of them were like that. It was the dialogue was so strange. Like, it was all innuendo, but like they were just so obvious with it. And it's like, okay, yes, husband and wives, sure, they will do that in private. Too. Yeah, and newlywed too. They're going to have fun with it because it's fun.
Yeah.
And it should be. But it was just strange.
You know what's wrong with it all, Blake?
So I don't know if it's a good scene or not. It could be a good scene.
Yeah. You know what the problem is?
What?
You're a prude.
I'm a prude. I get with this.
Yeah, I still enjoy this one. I have a lot more issues with it. Like, watching it the second time around, I was even more unenthused than I was with watching Murder on the Orient Express the second time around. And maybe that's because I've had 5 years since I last saw Murder. Maybe I was a little more intrigued by it because it'd been a longer time.
Maybe.
Whereas with Death on the Nile, it's just been 2 months. But watching it this time, I was kind of just like, I just don't really care. And I forgot to look when we watched it in theaters, and it's possible it's possible it was the theater screen itself. But me and Ronvold both swear we saw the green screen like 2 or 3 times where it had a crease in it, where you can see a visible crease in the green screen itself, specifically during the pyramid scene. And again, very possible it was just our theater screen. But I didn't notice that crease in other scenes that were similarly lit. So that's what leads me to think it was that their green screen that they were using just had a slight crease in it, which, you know, somebody should have been yelling about it. Somebody should have been like, that looks a little weird, you know?
Yeah.
But maybe it was just me. You know, maybe it was just me and Ronval. Maybe we were seeing shit. Maybe it was our theater screen. You know, I forgot to pay attention.
The guy that would normally yell to say that there was something wrong with it was also going to have to be the guy that had to fix it because, you know, it was a COVID movie.
Well, that's always possible.
People, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to do that."
I thought you were going to say he was yelling. He just had his mask on, so nobody could hear him.
Oh. First stuff, fuck it, just roll.
And they're like, dude, shut the fuck up, quiet on set. And he's like, we're Chris and Grace Group, fuck you. I give it I don't know. I gave it 2.5 stars when I watched it in theater, so I'll keep it at 2.5 stars. Like, I think in time it'll dwindle to just a 2-star film, sure. But it's still enjoyable. It's still a fun mystery. Right. I'm down for more Kenneth Branagh, Hercule Poirot films if he wants to make them.
There's a very aesthetic flashiness to both of the films, and I like it. I am hoping that the third installment I like more. But I did really enjoy that first movie, and I'm going to give this sequel smash to Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah, I'm doing the same. I do, maybe with what you were talking about with like the style, the look of the film.
Right.
It might be, I don't know if Death on the Nile was filmed this way, but Murder on the Orient Express was filmed in 65 millimeter, which not a lot of people really use those anymore. I think Dunkirk was filmed in 65 millimeter, which is hilarious because it stars Kenneth Branagh also. He's in that. But I can't think of any other films. I mean, Kenneth Branagh did another 65 millimeter film. I think it was Romeo and Juliet, like way back in the day. But like, you know, it's not often used nowadays. So it's like that might be part of why it looks, you know, a certain way it does. Yeah.
Could be. It also, I just enjoy the cinematography. I think is pretty decent. And just like the aesthetic of the era, they do a good job of blending the aesthetic of the era and making it appealing to the modern eye. For one example, I really like the straw hat that I think Letitia Wright was wearing at some point in the movie. Those were very popular at that time period, but you don't really see it done very well in movies, I feel like.
Yeah.
Hers was really good.
And to give a shout out, the cinematographer is Harris Zambarlukas. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but he is a constant collaborator with Kenneth Branagh. He did Belfast, both of these films, Thor, and a couple other another Kenneth Branagh film.
Thor?
Yeah, the first Thor. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. The more you know, right?
The more you know.
Kind of explains that film.
I do want to say secret review. Also, secret review of Dunkirk, and because we mentioned it 3 times, and we didn't say that we now secretly reviewed it. So you heard it here. You got all the secret reviews that you could possibly want, plus 2 official ones, and plus 2 more that Greenie saw by himself. So there we go.
It's a big action-packed episode.
It was.
And I think that's it.
You get your spoons out, couch potatoes, and just scoop it up, eat it up.
Yeah. Make sure you stir that green ketchup in there.
And making sure you screen that green ketchup in your perfectly sized eggs.
Oh, yeah.
And Hercule will hate you for it. So that's the show.
Yum. That is it. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leon. Safe travels, and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. Are you a fan of the show? Feel free to contact us at greenandfacelessfans@gmail.com or visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening.